Happy Friday! It's Mixed Media Mayhem, and today I'm playing with paint, texture, and pattern paper. I'm also going to almost use the Freaky Fast Friday because I read the formula wrong. The 10 by 7 I read as 10 by 2, but meh. And it also is a counterfeit kit challenge. So these are the pictures that I'm using today. They're of my oldest, who's almost 17, and her grandmother. So. And I also grabbed my paint right away and this white piece of cardstock. I'm just going to cut the cardstock down to 12 by 12. And I'm going to cut my other pieces. I was having trouble with my trimmer and it was tearing this page. I don't know why. The blade is fairly new, so if it continues to do it, it was fine with these other ones. If it continues to do it, then I will change my blade. But that one that I just cut should have been the 10 by 7, not the 10 by 2. This one's 12 by 3, and the other one's 1 by 12, and then I need 2 4 by 6s. So I thought maybe putting it on that grid for a brief moment, and I went, no, don't really need it. And so I'm going to cut the stripe in half, so it's 4 by 6, and I'm going to use the opposite side of it, and away we go. This one I'm going to cut down a little more than I had to, which I look at and went, but it is what it is. And this one I keep a bit more, just a little bit smaller than a 4 by 6. And I thought about them on an angle and hiding some of that green, but it's not going to stay like that. Play around. I decided right away that it needs a matte because I cut too much of the picture off. So really going to go a little bit sideways on the Freaky Fast Friday prompts, but oh well, it happens. I decided that the close up of my kiddo on the swing doesn't need the black, and I like that. And I'm going to look at my paints. So I have all these different paints from Studio Calico, and so this one that I picked out is a coral, and then I'm thinking, how am I going to get paint on this? Well, I'm going to slide this over, and then I take a look at my stencils. So I have a lot of stencils. So those ones up top were Christmas ones that I'm really quickly going through and going, nope, maybe, nope. Maybe, nope. I liked that one that I just put on top with the geometric, and I thought maybe I put some texture paste through, but I decided I don't want to do that anyway, so. And not that one. And then that was one I pulled out for my kit, and I was looking for my other ones that I pulled out. They're probably in the pile beside me, but I didn't want to look. So I'm going to use this, I think it's a Pink Fresh one. Could be a Simple Stories. I don't know. The packaging was kind of there, so it's flowers. I think it's actually Simple Stories. And I'm just gonna put some paint in my cup, added a little bit of water to make it a little runny, and just really messily put it through the stencil. And I did that on purpose because I want some of the texture from the paint. I don't want it to be like all pristine and stuff because it's mixed media, and texture is one of my prompts. And so yeah, that went through really fast for the skipping through, but I was just showing you that I just turned it, put the paint in. You didn't need to see the paint again. Dried it for a minute, and gonna wet this down. So this is that 1-inch strip, and I'm gonna use this Cuttlebug. It's just like a dots thing, and I'm gonna knock all my inks on the floor in a second. So that's not going to go through, and there they go on the floor. Oh, and some more as I move them over. most of my inks ended up on the floor. So this will work fine. I'm just going to flip it over and do it again so that all of that 12-inch strip has the texture to it. And the water in that embossing folder really gives you that definition. So that was kind of fun. And so that's going to go on the edge here. I also went and picked up all my inks so that, and just skipped ahead so you didn't have to see that. It's still a little wet, even though I did put the heat gun to it. So I'm just going to get this stuff all situated on. And roughen up the edges a little. I decided I wanted to do some splatters, and so I just watered this down even more. Mostly because there is paint left in there and there's nothing I'm going to do with that paint, so I as well use it. And then I was just, as that was drying, looking through, seeing what I want to use. So that orange flower in the Simple Stories, pulling out some Hip Kit Club stuff, some 49 in Market, and then this Heidi Spot sticker book, which I don't actually use. And then I'm gonna add, just checking to see how wet it is, and it's still a little wet, so I'm just gonna add my heat gun to some of the wetter spots so I can keep going because I'm being impatient, and it is what it is. Good enough. Alright, and so then there's my photos, and that end piece I'm going to put on right away because I know it's going to be there. It's still a little bit wet, but it makes folding up this edge really easy because it's still a little damp. And then I'm going to get the stripe piece on, and I put that picture on top of my other picture, and there's still wet paint there. So I go, So I'm just going to grab a wet wipe here and wipe off my kid's face, and it was quick enough. It was easy to get off, but man, sometimes the things you do that you don't mean to do. I'm going to ruffle up the edge on this side too, and then this should have been my 10 by 7. And if it had been my 10 by 7, I would have put it in behind that stripe, and it would have covered, like, come out on both sides, but that's not how that went down. Oh well. It's done, and I'm not going to fret about it. Just ruffling up the edges too. I do like the way it turned out, so I mean, oh well. So decided I didn't want the film strips, but I do have this 49 in Market Autumn. It was from last October, so I have these punch out pieces, so I'm going to use this orange lacy bit because it's similar to the coral paint I've used and that long 12 by 1 strip, and it brings the orange to the other side too. I thought about it in the middle, but if I put it in the middle, then I'm cutting it into pieces, and I want the long strip of it because, yeah, why not? And then I pulled out some of the teal hearts and orange hearts and a couple orange flowers, just pulling out what I think I can use. Those pink ones would have went fine when I get the title on, but I didn't put very much pink. I pulled out this sign because I thought it would be cute, and it would have been cute over here, but I don't use it. I think about it for a bit, but I don't. And then I pulled out this orange moth, but the orange moth is way too bright for everything else that's on here. And then I'm going to look through these acetate titles and words because I don't think I've used any of them yet. And I've had them for, I haven't had Hip Kit Club for a couple of years. So I've had them for at least a couple of years. So I'm just pulling out ones that will work. So I have beautiful, I have moments, I have together, I have a smaller beautiful, I have today. Just throwing them all in a spot and then seeing what seeing what works. I think I put some fun in there and a happy. Yep, a happy. So I really like the color on this one, and yes, that pink is nowhere else on my page, but I don't really care. So I thought about the happy, but I don't like it over top of the paint because they kind of get lost because they are acetate. And so I thought happy, beautiful moments, this happy, no, beautiful on the top, I do still like, but not enough. So I thought fun, beautiful moments, but it really is bugging me that I can't, like, that paint makes it hard to read them. So I've definitely decided no to all of these ones. So I'm going to put them away instead of having them scattered all across my floor, because that happens. And then taking a look through here, trying to decide. I know I don't really like what's going on there at the moment, but I haven't decided. And I did put a little swish of paint in between just because that white was really stark, and I didn't think about it when I was doing the stencil, and I've already washed my stencil, so I don't want to reuse my stencil, which is kind of funny. I got it too close that time, and then so I'm just going to put it on again with a little bit, like the tiniest bit more space, but there's a little more space there. Of the things that you decide you like and don't like. I don't know, sometimes they don't really make that big of a difference. So just gluing this down, I'm going to tuck it under the ruffled edge because I like how that brings that orange to both sides of the page. And I did squish that stripe in a little bit, so now I don't have it the side that I thought I was going to see of the paint, but I didn't leave it in there, so that's okay. And then I just put a little bit of Nuvo on the edge of that S, and it's going to get tucked so that it adheres it there. And then I'm going back into these stickers, and I thought about this one, and no. And I am going to pull this orange one because I still like this orange one, and it's going to go at the bottom here. And I cut it in half so I can use another piece somewhere else, because why not? So at the top, I'm going to end up with 4-ish clusters. So I thought this orange one, but I want some other colors in here. So I pulled this little green butterfly and this big green one because there's green in my one pattern paper. And then I'm going to pull some green leaves to bring the green to the other side. And to the top. And this one's going to go by this flower. And then I'm thinking about what else do I want in these clusters. So there kind of is 5 because there'll be one by the title with that butterfly. So this gets a little blue butterfly. And then I'm looking, are there any other little ones? Oh, there's this little blue one too. So just looking at where to put these 49 and market orange flowers. So they're going to go top and bottom on this side. And then that gets a little blue one, which means I'm going to move the orange heart down to the bottom here with this other butterfly, which is pretty cute. And I want some sort of blue in this bottom corner and some blue in this top one because the other ones already have blue, and why not? So I thought about that fun again, and I don't know. I'm not liking it. So those acetates I'm not going to use, but he and ha. And I thought maybe this blue flower to add some, and it would have probably worked, but I wanted something smaller. So this little ticket has just enough blue. I'm going to hide it underneath the paper, and then I pulled up the wing so the wing is not tucked underneath that one because I like that more. And then getting that heart glued on, and that works well for me. Just taking a look to see what else I can get on here, because I still want some blue in that top one, and I'm like, There's no other little butterflies. I've used them all. And so then I'm looking here, and the blue stuff that I'd want to use isn't quite dark enough, or the words didn't work, and I don't want more acetate. I'm having trouble with the acetate I pulled out other than the title. So I was like, I wonder if there's another blue one, like a bluey teal heart here. And so I pulled that one out, which is perfect. I'm going to dump that orange mouth on the floor and pick it up. And just looking to see if there's anything else. I'm getting pretty close here. So get that glued on because I like it. Get some enamel dots on. So I picked a blue and a coral. And I'm going to use all of the strips of that blue and the coral because why not? So just making sure that there are different sizes in each of these 5 clusters, I guess it ends up being. Put that away. Still debating the beautiful, and that would have worked okay, but not so much. Add a little glue to this because it was sticking up and it was bugging me, and that's the page already. There's some close-ups here coming up too. You can see some of the texture and all of the bits. Thank you so much for spending your time here today. There's some other videos here that if you want to watch. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you here. And if you liked my video, I'd appreciate the thumbs up. Thanks. Have a great day.